Okay, big question that I get a lot. What is the difference between an animal-based diet, the carnivore diet, and the lion diet? Best way to describe this, I think, is to imagine like three circles, concentric circles, right? So one inside the other. The largest of those three would be animal-based, the outermost circle or ring. What does this mean? Just as the namesake would say, animal-based. The denominator of that fraction is animals and animal byproducts, animal foods and animal byproducts. So the majority of your calories are coming from animal foods and animal byproducts. So if you eat 2,000 calories in a day, that means 1,001 of those calories comes from animals or animal byproducts, and the others, 999, come from whatever else you like. Now, as far as the most optimal way to eat animal-based, I would say, yes, have your animals and animal byproducts as your denominator or the most dominant calorie or calorie source, but that doesn't mean the numerator or your minority of calories comes from whatever else you want, a la junk food, processed foods, refined sugars, seed oils, et cetera. Still keep some wholesomeness about your numerator, the minority of your calories, right? So I like to say, if you can pick it, pull it, or kill it, that's kind of the best way to stay, right? Obviously, so that your animals and your animal byproducts, that's going to fall into your denominator or the kill it part of the fraction. But if you can pick it and pull it, there's your numerator right there. So those are definitely whole foods, fruits, veggies, things of the like. Now, things that are made of whole foods but are not necessarily pick it or pull it, dark chocolate, certain grains, or grain products, pastas and breads and whatnot, it's a slippery slope because you start mixing in other ingredients, sugars, you get different reactions to the body. It's hard for me to say. Each of us is different. Best thing I can say is see what works best for you, right? Maybe introduce things singularly, so like one at a time, so you can see specifically what element or item affects you or doesn't affect you, right? Because if you're eating something that's got a ton of ingredients in it, or like even a salad, should be healthy, right? But if it's got 15 different things in it and something makes you not feel well after the fact, it's hard to deduce who the culprit was within that whole mix. I'm not saying anything bad about salad, just saying if you're trying to learn how to understand your body better, I always say start with the least amount of variables as possible. That way you can more efficiently deduce what makes you feel good and what makes you feel otherwise. So that would be the first or outermost ring of animal-based, right, of the diet. Animal-based is the big one. Within animal-based is the carnivore diet. Now, the difference between animal-based diet and the carnivore diet is in the carnivore diet, there are no other items other than animal, meaning it is strictly animals and animal byproducts. That's it. There is no majority of calories or denominator versus numerator, et cetera, et cetera. So first thing people ask, well, what about a bee? A bee is an animal. Does honey count? Honey, to me, goes in the animal-based ring, not in the carnivore ring. So if it swims, walks, crawls, breathes, flies, I think that's it. Those are your carnivore items, right? And their byproducts. Yes, bees fly, I know, but again, to animal-based. Why the hate on bees? I don't hate on bees. I love honey. But honey has sucrose and fructose, which we would definitely try to say is a point to avoid with the carnivore diet. So the carnivore diet, meat, poultry, seafood, fowl, dairy, especially your lower lactose dairy items like hard cheeses and whatnot, because once you start getting into liquid dairy, that's where you can run into trouble with higher amounts of lactose, a la carbohydrates, a la sugars, right? Like, and if you're like me, you don't pour an 8-ounce glass of milk. You pour these big pint glasses and have maybe more than one of them in a sitting. Also, when you're dealing with different types of dairy, if it's pasteurized or homogenized, or depending on the temperature, the pasteurization, you're dealing with different types of bacteria, which could actually also be adverse to your body or have adverse effects on your body, as opposed to if they are raw dairy products and you're sensitive to lactose. A lot of those of you that are lactose intolerant, raw dairy products could be much better for you, but not everyone has access to raw dairy, unfortunately. So when I'm kind of coaching people through the carnivore diet, I say for their first 30 days to just avoid all liquid dairy and even have small amounts of low lactose dairy like your hard cheeses, because you really want to understand your body. Again, back to those variables, you really want to understand how your body's reacting to just itself and its own homeostasis. And the more variables you continue to have, I know they're tasty, I know they kind of cut the nerves a little bit from just having pure meat, but until you truly understand how you're feeling from what you're eating, it's hard to say what's making you feel good and what's making you feel bad. So, animal-based, carnivore, and then the tightest one, lion. So what's the lion diet compared to the other two? Well, if you remember animal-based, the denominator is animals and animal byproducts. The majority of your calories are coming from animals and animal byproducts, whereas carnivore, all of your calories are coming from animals and animal byproducts. But with lion, it is ruminant animals only, so those would be polygastric earth walkers, a la your cows, your bison, sheep, and goat. Cow, bison, sheep, and goat. Polygastric, meaning multiple GI systems, right? Like think about a cow that's multiple stomachs because it's built to consume and utilize various digestive enzymes to process grass. We are not like that, right? The pH of a cow's stomach compared to the pH of a human stomach, much different. Ours is very acidic because we need that acidity in order to break down the omnivorous form of eating that we're able to adhere to, especially carnivorous. So within the lion diet, ruminant animals only. Again, your polygastrics, cow, bison, sheep, and goat. It's pretty simple. Salt and water. That's it. So this is the ultimate elimination diet. Why? Because again, you've minimized the variables. You know what's making you feel the way it's making you feel. There's nothing else for you to be able to say, it must have been the berries, or it was this arugula, or maybe it was the onion, or this spice. No. And the beauty of it is that you're still getting all the nutrients and full profile of nourishment that your body needs because of the food you're eating. You cannot do an elimination diet like this with other than animal foods, because no other items have the same amount of macronutrient, micronutrient, amino acid, vitamin, and enzyme profile as does an animal food, especially a la the lion diet, right? Because you can't get all of that from a single source with these other diets or with other diets in general. So if you were to think like, well, maybe I can get it all from eating avocados. Avocados are healthy, no doubt about it, but they're not going to have all the other things that this single source is going to have. Well, what about spinach? What about this vegetable? What about these fruits? Again, they can be, I'm using the word can be healthy and beneficial, but the benefit honestly is marginal. Not to mention, there is no plant on the earth that the human body needs in order to live. None. There's no plant on earth that the human body needs in order to live. Do we like them? Yes. Can they have benefit? Yes. Are they very common and have been used for a millennium and for quite some time? Yes, 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 yes. But again, there is no plant on earth that the human body needs. So when you eliminate all these things and you're just taking in this single source of sustenance, a la your ruminant animals, cow, bison, sheep, and goat, with salt and water, you know exactly what you're feeling and the reasons you're feeling that way by what you're consuming. There is no mystery variable of, oh, it must have been the garlic that made me sick, or it was that sauce, or it was the shell, or this peanut, or I have allergy. I don't know. When you do it down to this level, there's no mistake. You get to fully understand your body, how it's feeling by what it's eating. Now, does that come with a cost? That's up to you. But the idea behind it is simple. So simple is an objective thing, simplicity, rather. Something either is or is not simple. It's not an opinion. Whether it's easy or difficult now, that's up to us. But the simplicity of a la the lion diet and its effectiveness isn't exactly that. It's simple. But how to implement it yourself and then adhere to it, that can be difficult or easy, but it's up to us. So again, animal-based, carnivore, the lion diet. Try them all, put your toes in the water. if it were me and I'm giving you a recommendation of which one to start with, do what you feel called to. You're going to struggle likely no matter what. There's plenty of trial and error. There's no wrong answer there. Do what feels natural. And as long as it's making you feel good, I would continue doing it. But also, if it's making you feel bad, headaches are not necessarily making you feel bad. There could be reactions within your body taking place to withdrawals from other foods, typically sugar, right? So don't misassociate headaches, brain fog, fatigue, upset stomachs, etc. with your being sick. It's actually the causality of your doing with your body reacting. So if you have questions, hit me up. I love this stuff. It's what I do for a living. It's what I coach people on, and it fascinates me to this day. That's why I continue to do it and practice it myself, because I'm constantly mesmerized and mystified by this science and by the science of humanity and how we deal with it ourselves too. Because if I can say one thing, the single most effective thing we can do as human beings in regards to our health is controlling what we put into our freaking mouths. So give these a shot. Let me know what you think. I'm looking forward to hearing from you.